start with, so there's two goals on the call today. The first is I want to talk about BFR and why I believe it is literally the ultimate longevity tool or tool to help us with our health span. And that's going to be a big topic of what we're talking about today and why that is and how it works. And then I'm also going to be talking about this upcoming women's study that we're going to be doing and why I'm so excited about that and who we want to get involved. And hopefully many of you on the call today will get involved on that. Not only is it an exciting thing to be involved in, you'll get some amazing results. It's also it's also a special offer we're making for this where you don't have to pay for the band. So it is the cheapest way to get involved in the program as well. All right, so let me jump in about BFR. I know some of you on the call already know about BFR. Some of you probably don't. I will do kind of the little bit of shorter version of the BFR. I have some other resources. If after the call you want to dive in more, I can send you science articles, journals. I have other webinars that really go in deep on BFR. But for today, what I'll just say is BFR is super beneficial for us as we age. And I want to talk about what I mean by aging, because we're all aging all through our whole life, right? But what I really mean is a couple distinct points in our life. So starting in our 30s, our production of human growth hormone starts to quickly drop. Human growth hormone, we have a lot of when we're young, as we're growing. As the name suggests, it is a hormone that helps us grow. Our muscles grow, our bone, our skin, our tendons. So when we're young and we're growing, we have lots of it. And then through the rest of our life, it declines. What human growth hormone is good for us at any age, but particularly as we start aging, is it's great for helping us maintain and build muscle. It's great for bone density. How many women out there have that on their mind these days, right? It's great for increasing our metabolism and helps to burn visceral fat. Another thing that people start to notice as they age is that it's harder to lose weight or maintain the weight that they'd like. And not only, for vanity, but also for real health concerns that come up as we get older. If we gain weight, our risk for diabetes go up, our risk for heart disease goes up. So how do we keep those things in check? Having more human growth hormone is a huge help in those areas, but it becomes harder to get that in a regular workout. And BFR is uniquely positioned to be able to do that for us. And I'll explain that a little bit more in the next section. So by aging, I mean, really starting in our 30s, we start to lose some of those key hormones, key processes in our bodies that really maximize our health. And so we want to start paying attention to that early. Another big time, when women hit perimenopause and menopause, we have a drastic change in our hormones. Different than men. Men have a gradual shift in their hormones throughout their life. And as they get older, they still need things that boost their hormones. But for women, there's this drastic period of time where we feel a very significant change in our bodies. It's oftentimes when we feel like we no longer have control over the outcome of our body. We're doing the same things we used to always do, and yet they're not working the way they used to work. It's harder for us to maintain our muscle. It's harder for us to maintain our optimal body comp. Maybe we're feeling our energy not be what it used to be. And all these things are things that BFR can uniquely help with. So I've been focusing a lot on women, and the study is going to be focusing on women, not because BFR is not good for men or for people of other ages, but I feel like women going through perimenopause and menopause are in a unique position to get a significant benefit from BFR. I experienced it myself personally. That's partly why I'm so excited and passionate about this method, is it literally changed. I was worried about my future. I was depressed. I had a hip replacement. I was losing muscle. I couldn't do anything about it no matter how hard I tried. And when I discovered BFR, it literally within a month completely changed how I was feeling and put me back in feeling in control of my health to some degree. So it's been huge for me. So that's partly why I'm passionate about this group. When people start to get older, 50s, 60s, it starts to become more common, and sometimes this happens even younger, but it starts to become more common that we have some type of injuries that are starting to limit us, whether that's a chronic injury that was an old injury from when we were younger that's starting to creep into becoming more of a problem, whether it's arthritis, whether we've had a surgery that we didn't quite fully recover from, we just couldn't gain the strength back. Just the older people get, the more likely things are starting to bother their body. And the problem with that is it impacts how hard we can then work out. I mean, how many people out there had an injury, returned to working out, and just limits them from being able to do some of the previous activities, right? Yeah, I see Tracy raising your hand. Me too. And what happens is then we step back, we dial back on our workouts, and then that means we dial back on the benefits. We dial back. We don't get the strength gains we really want. We don't get the bone density we really want. We don't get the hormone response that we really want because we don't want to risk hurting our body. So we're in this difficult decision point of like, do I push myself and get hurt? Or do I hold back and I protect my body, but I'm going to sacrifice some of the benefits? And that's an unfortunate decision point. But with BFR, it really makes that less of an issue. And again, I'll explain why. And then lastly, as we age, people that are starting to get into their 70s and 80s, that's kind of an age range that's sort of typical when we start feeling more frail, or there's more of a lack of energy, or there's some weakness, and it really starts to become increasingly harder to maintain our muscle and energy. And doing the work necessary to do that starts to become almost impossible. BFR makes it possible and really makes it accessible for all these ages to get these benefits. And that's why it's such a, I think, the key tool for longevity. I know it's not super broadly out there yet, and some people are like, why isn't this more popular? And there's a lot of reasons. Partly there's not, it used to be in the medical world. Now there are bands that are easy and safe for everyone to use. You can use on your own. That's only been true for the last about 7 years. And then education is just catching up. So we're one of the leading groups doing education in the fitness industry right now. There's not a lot of people focusing on that. And so there needs to be more education, but I guarantee you in the next few years, this is going to be a huge way people are exercising because the benefits are vast. All right, so how does BFR work? The simple explanation is you wear bands on your arms and legs that slow down oxygen to your working muscles. This is important because what that does is it starts to pool lactic acid in your muscle under a very light weight. Normally, if you're lifting a light weight, you would not build up lactic acid. But because the bands are restricting your oxygen to a certain degree, it does. And this is what creates a cascade effect from your brain. So it's a systemic response that is created that produces human growth hormone. It increases protein synthesis, which basically means our muscles want to uptake protein to get stronger. And this gets turned on in your brain. So we build muscle much quicker this way. There's other things that our brain health gets increased by increasing blood flow. BDNF is a enzyme in the brain that gets turned on, all from this lactic acid response. Lactic acid is huge, or actually it's called lactate. Lactic acid is kind of a slang. Blood lactate is the signaling system to our brain to respond to high intensity exercise. But now we're able to get this response with low intensity exercise. So that's why as we age, high intensity or heavy training, think CrossFit or something, that becomes harder to do as we get older. But with blood flow restriction, and many, many studies show this, you can do light resistance, low impact, lower stress exercise and get those same results. It's actually pretty, that's pretty game changing right there. Just that sentence, that you can get the same results doing light and low impact exercise as if you were doing extremely high intensity exercise. This is the key to aging well, because we can get all of those great responses. Everyone knows exercise is the number one way to, age well, to prevent diseases and health related issues. Exercise is the number one, and BFR is the easier, safer, more accessible way to exercise as we age. On top of some of those other, our mitochondria gets healthier. So that's why we start to feel better with our energy. Mitochondria is the fuel source for our muscle cells. And as we get older, like every cell in our body, they get less efficient. We start having more waste products in our mitochondria. Some of them start dying, but they don't get cleaned out. So we have more muck, technical term, muck in our muscles, and things aren't working as efficiently. When you do high intensity exercise, or when you do BFR exercise, your mitochondria start cleaning themselves out. They get more efficient. They realize they have to do more work efficiently, and they get a lot healthier and they multiply. This is huge from an energy standpoint and aerobic fitness. So you will feel better aerobically. You'll be able to do more work with less effort. It's really pretty incredible. And there's also some vascular benefits. Your blood pressure will go down. Your VO2 max will increase. That means the amount of work you can do with oxygen. It's one of the number one health markers that's linked to mortality. The higher your VO2, the lower your mortality. And BFR helps tremendously with that. It helps you to create more capillaries, which equals better blood flow to all tissues in your body, including your brain, which, as we know, super important for healthy aging, is blood flow to the brain. So lots and lots of benefits. And the last thing is it actually helps to reduce pain, partly because our blood flow increases, and that's a huge way to reduce pain. So say you have a chronic knee pain or tendon pain, BFR will help with that through increased blood flow, and human growth hormone is what heals tissue. So many, many people doing this program that report less pain, or their pain has gone away after they've been using this. And this is something that we're going to actually test for in our studies and get feedback on. So the cool thing is every benefit that we just talked about, BFR gives you, and it helps you to regain these important health benefits that we typically just slowly lose as we age. And it helps to turn the clock back a decade or more by giving us those health benefits. And the thing I struggle with sometimes talking about BFR is it can sound gimmicky. It can sound like, how is this possible? Too good to be true. But I'll tell you, I have experienced all these things, and I've had over 100 people go through my program, and they have all had similar breakthrough experiences. They can't believe the muscle they've gained. They can't believe the weight loss that they could never get before that they're now getting. They can't believe how energetic they feel or how much their aerobic fitness has improved. And it's consistent across the board. And studies, many, many studies have shown all this. The caveat, and you guys have probably heard this before, most of those studies have been done on male subjects. So we want to change that. We're in the age of, women's health and women's power, and talking about menopause, not hiding it in a closet. And so that's what we're trying to do. We want to bring this to the forefront of women's health, because I really feel like this is going to be a game-changing technique specifically to help women regain their strength, regain their confidence, regain their hope for how they can age in the future. I know that was huge for me. I started having, lack of hope about how my body would function as I got older. And this has completely restored that. I've got my kind of spark back, my confidence of feeling good in my body again. And that's big from a mental health standpoint. It's something I think we don't talk about enough and we underestimate, but it's why I'm passionate about getting this out there to people, is because it really helps you feel good about where you're at and taking care of yourself. So we are mostly interested in collecting data on women ages 45 and up, but to the question in the beginning, if you're 44, we will still take you in the study. We actually don't have a super hard line cutoff, but we're looking for women who are starting to have hormonal changes. As I said in the beginning, even your 30s, this is going to be helpful to you. But we're kind of, at least for this study, looking at that kind of when we're getting into hormonal changes. I went through perimenopause in my 30s. So, yeah, Tracy too. So, it's not a hard and fast line, but that's kind of what we're looking for. I've had, as I said, about 100 women that have already gone through this program, and I have tons and tons, testimony after testimonial, but we haven't done a great job of really collecting that objective data. We had some people that did pre-testing, some people who didn't, some people did post-testing, some people, and we didn't do a good job of focusing on that. And for this study, that's what we're really going to emphasize, is we have pre-testing, and you can do it all at home on your own. Pre-testing, and then we'll do testing at 1 month, 3 months, and 6 months. So we can really see a little more consistently with data, what are the changes people are seeing? What are the common changes? What are the outlying changes? So that we can start to make some hypothesis about this. This is not obviously a clinical official research study. This is what's called a white paper study, which means we're collecting data to hopefully create show some statistical amount of difference to create a hypothesis to publish and then get an official clinical research group to pick it up as a research study. So we're just trying to bring it to light, to surface, look at these things that we found with 50 women that have done this program, and these are the benefits, and we really think someone should take it a step further and do a clinical trial. So this is a preliminary white paper study, just to be clear on that. How the program works, it's 100% virtual, meaning you can do it on your own time at home. You can do it while traveling. You can do it anywhere you want. The workouts are short. They're 3 or 4 days a week. You pick your track. It's either 3 days a week or 4 days a week, 15 to 25 minutes per workout. So it's reasonable amount of time. You don't need a lot of equipment. We send you the bands and exercise tubing. You'll need some light dumbbells on your own, but that's really the only other equipment that you need. You follow very clear email and video instructions that walk you through exactly how to put on the bands, exactly how to use the bands. We give you, one step at a time, each workout that builds on each other. It's very well thought out. It's very well structured. We start conservatively. We build you up gradually. And then you participate. After you do your intro program, you can do live workouts if you want. Some people love the live workouts. It's community. We get to see you. We get to say hi. We get to look at your form. Some people are like, no, just want to do it on my own time. So you get the workouts on demand. So you really can make it your own program. The great thing is it's flexible. The schedule's flexible, and you're just committing to doing the 3 or 4 workouts a week. We're looking to collect data such as heart rate, blood pressure. If you can't do that one at home, we have you look at, maybe your most recent doctor visit, body measurements, weight. We have some exercises that we walk you through: push-ups, wall sit, and balance. The push-ups can be done from your knees. Obviously, if anything causes pain, you can just put that on the sheet. You don't have to do the test. But we're collecting these kind of exercise, vascular health, and body composition are the main things we're looking for. And then if there's any specific health issues, we might have you go a little deeper in looking at cholesterol, and a couple of other things that I'm blanking on, thyroid. So if you have issues, you probably have that information at home. If you don't, those are optional. So it's all stuff that you probably either have or can quickly take. We're really looking at the vascular health, the body composition health, and the fitness health, the fitness progressions. All right, who we specifically are looking for, I already touched on this, but women 45-ish and up, and really people who are excited to, really jump in and commit to this method, at least for this period of time, and really give it a chance. The people that have had the most success are the people that have been consistent, obviously. If you do it here and there once a week you're not going to really see the benefits. But if you're doing it even 3 times a week at 15 to 20 minutes, you will be surprised at the benefits that you get. So we're looking for people who are excited and willing to commit to that. We know life happens. We're not expecting you to be perfect throughout the study. As a matter of fact, if you're doing 3 days a week, you miss a day, you can always make up. It's not that hard. If there's something else that makes you fall off, you get sick, you're traveling, and it's a longer period, just communicate with us so we know, and we can notate that in your file. But part of this is it's real life, right? So people aren't going to be perfect. But one of the benefits of this program is because it's not a big time commitment, we find that people are able to stay consistent more easily. And by just being more consistent with the program, that alone is going to give you better results. And it also improves exercise motivation because it's doable. It's not a long workout. You start to see the results very quickly, and all of a sudden you start wanting to exercise more. And that's another thing that we want to look at. Does it help people improve their motivation or not? So we've been doing this. I've been fine-tuning this program for a year now. I started almost exactly a year ago with just some friends, some clients, and it's grown over that year. And so I really want to see, I really want to test how our specific program is working for women. We're becoming the premier educators and fitness programmers of BFR training, and this is part of our learning process to see what works for people, what isn't working for people, and what results people are getting, and what results people aren't getting, so that we can continue to improve our techniques and what we're providing to make sure we're giving people the best experience and best results possible. That's about it. Real quickly, we have 2 tracks. We have a foundational track. That's the 3 days a week. That's for people who consider themselves maybe more beginner with strength training, or maybe intermediate. You're used to maybe doing lighter strength training, or you don't do a lot of strength training, but you do cardio. You'd be in the foundational track. If you're someone who works out a lot and you're comfortable with strength training and you're pretty consistent already with strength training, you would probably want to do the advanced track, which is 4 days a week. You can self-select that, or if you have questions, we can answer, give you direction, but you can kind of self-select which of those tracks. The cost is $200 a month. The cool thing about the study is we gift you the bands when you start. You don't have to buy them up front. But we ask that you complete the 6 months and you complete all the pre and post testing. And if you do that, we gift you the bands and you keep them forever, and they're your bands. If you can cancel at any time, if you don't want to continue the $200 a month, that's fine. But then we would ask you to send the bands back or buy them outright if you want to keep the bands. But hopefully people will be loving the coaching program and getting such great benefits that you want to stay in it. But obviously we're looking for feedback. We want to learn. So communicate, just open communication. Signups are going to be this weekend. So we're going to have a limited registration window on Saturday and Sunday. The reason we're doing that is because we're going to start people in cohorts. You're going to start with a group of people that you get introduced to, and you're going to be chatting with and have support, and you're going to go through the program day by day together so that you're not just doing it alone. Louisa, who's on the call here today, she's our new customer success coordinator, who I'm super happy to have on board. She's a women's professional beach soccer player. She's been in health and fitness and sports her whole life. She actually recovered from an ACL repair using BFR and got back to her professional level soccer in sand with an ACL surgery. That's no joke. So she's used it herself and has just a great attitude. We're super happy to have her on our team. So she's going to help be supporting people through this program. And then I'll be primarily your coach. There's a couple other coaches you'll meet throughout the program as well, but I'll be doing the coaching calls with you and all the content of the videos. So what we're going to do, we have quite a bit of interest, which I'm really excited about. We're going to open up the signups to the first 25 people who got on the registration list Saturday morning. We'll give them 4 or 5 hours to register, and then we'll send the link to everyone else if there's spots left. If we end up fully selling out, we will most likely do a second group. So don't feel too distraught if you miss it, but make sure you're on that registration list because we will prioritize those people for the second round. So we'll just go in order for this round. Whoever doesn't get in will go in order again for the next round. If you haven't already signed up for the priority registration list, I encourage you to do that. I put it in the chat at the beginning of the meeting. So you could take a picture of that. You can click on it. I will also do a follow-up email after this webinar, and I will put the link in that email so that you'll have that handy there, and you can sign up for the list. That, again, is just for us to know who's interested and know when to invite people. You will pay when you sign up this weekend. All right, so I will now open it up for questions or chats. Go ahead and unmute yourself. Let's see, hold on. There's a couple chats that came through. Let me see. What is it? I think you mean BFR, blood flow restriction training. Did I not really even say that? Did I skip over that? That's terrible. So, but maybe I did. It's called blood flow restriction training, restricting the blood flow to reduce oxygen in the muscle that makes the fatigue happen really, really fast. Oh, that's one thing I forgot to say. The workouts are short because the fatigue happens fast. One thing we're learning from a science standpoint is our brain doesn't know how long we worked out for. Our brain doesn't even know how heavy the weight is. The brain knows what is happening at the cellular level in the muscle. And if lactic acid is building up, the brain interprets that as we got to respond to this because that is intense work. So that's why the workouts are short, the weights are light, All the brain knows is the muscle is in deep fatigue and we need to respond. So that's called blood flow restriction training. Thanks for pointing out that maybe I wasn't super clear on that. All right, what is the retail bands for the price, and do they come with exercise programming? So retail price of the bands are $450 if you just buy them on their own. That's what they cost online. Those are the ones I sell. By the way, that's a good question. I didn't talk about this. There are several BFR bands on the market. The ones I use are, to me, the easiest to use. They're non-mechanical. They don't have, you don't need a motor. You don't need Bluetooth with your phone. You don't need to charge them. Some of them out there today work fine and they're safe and they're good, but you need your phone. You need to charge them. If you forgot to charge it, you can't use it. I've had some of those and that was frustrating to me. These you put on and you pump up with a pump. You take the pump off and you can go do anything you want. You don't need a motor. You don't need your phone. You can swim in them. They also were created by a cardiologist whose entire goal was to make them 100% safe for users. And so they do not create a tourniquet. When you pump them up, they have these individual little air pockets that push out. So blood is always getting through. So it is not stopping your blood flow. It is just slowing down your venous blood so that you're pooling more lactic acid in the muscle. And I feel like these are the best bands on the market. If you go onto Amazon and type in BFR, you can probably find a $20 band that says it's BFR, and all it is the strap. And you probably would be fine, but there's no way to tell if you're cutting off your arterial flow or not. That is the only time there's a risk. If you cut off your arterial flow for too long, there's risk of blood clot. These bands will never happen. It is impossible with the way these bands are designed. So that's why I go with a band that's a little more expensive, but it's specifically developed for this technique. There's millions of people using BFR around the world. No complications if you're using the proper bands and you don't have any contraindications, which I have listed and I'll send to you, but they're very specific. If you're generally approved for exercise, you are approved for BFR training. Some of the if you have lymphedema in a limb that's pretty acute, you would want to use BFR on the other limbs, but not that limb. That's one of the examples of a contraindication. I think that answered that question. Any other questions about the program, about BFR in particular, how to get involved? There must be more questions out there. Tracy, I see you thinking. You have anything?
When will the sign-up start on Saturday?
Betsy, signups will start about 8 in the morning on Saturday. I'll be sending an email out with the link when the signup goes live. And then we will have the second wave of people, like probably around noon on Saturday. I'll send a second wave of emails to people that are not the first 25 on the list. And then, like I said, if we sell out, we will do a second wave in a couple weeks. So I'll make sure I'm really good about communicating all of that for those that are interested. We do have a lot of interest, so I'm very excited about that and happy. So keep it coming. Tracy, did you have something? I think you're muted. You don't look like you're muted, but I can't hear you. Is it your volume? I don't hear you. I see the mute going on. You can put it in the chat if you want. Sorry about that. Lori, do you have any questions? No? Good? All right. People that have their videos off, I can't see you, but if you have, when do you start? Okay. Oh, that's also a good question. I should, hi, Betsy. Good. So the way the program is going to work, you order this weekend. So, and then obviously, unless you're very local to Mountain View, which is where I'm located with my gym, Evolution, you can pick up your bands. Otherwise, we need to ship them to you. So we need a few days. So you will start with the preparation week, and that week we'll send you a workout video to get familiar with some of the movements we're going to do in the program and then it's also going to take you through your testing, the push-ups, the wall sit, the balance. We will send you a webinar that goes a little deeper on blood lactate and why that is so key in the benefits to BFR and what that feels like in your workouts. We'll send you some nutrition information. We'll get you set up in the chat group. So prep week, we're giving you information so that when we start, which is the following Monday, so it'll be September 9th, you will hit the ground running. That'll be your first day wearing the BFR bands, and then we'll hit the ground running from there. So we start with a prep week, which we still want involvement. You're still going to be doing some workouts, and then the BFR starts September 9th. We are using, we're going to be using GroupMe for the chat group because we looked at all the options out there, and that seems to be the simplest for people. Obviously, we can't do text messaging, but we want it to be, you know, I know you can opt into it, but it is going to be the chance for you to be with your cohort and have some communication with the other people in your group. And we've done this in the past with texting, and people love it, just to like have that camaraderie of like, whose legs are sore today, or wow, that felt amazing, or you know, who's struggling, you know, just to have that support, that camaraderie, shared questions. Louisa is going to be leading those groups and answering questions, and then I'll be involved as needed with that. But again, I'll be connecting with you on the workouts and on the coaching calls. So great questions, you guys. I will be, I recorded this, so I'll be sending out this recording. I'll send a follow-up email with the link to the registration list. And then anyone on the registration list will get the email on Saturday to sign up. If you have any questions, you can always reach out by email. Happy to answer any other questions people might have. What do you think? Are we good? All right, sounds like we're good. Thank you, Lori. Good to meet you. All right, well, we will wrap it up. Thanks for being here. I'm glad I had Tracy and Louisa and Lori so I could make eye contact with somebody. The rest of you, hope you listened in and enjoyed the content. Like I said, I'll send a follow-up email, and then you can always reply directly to that email with any follow-up questions that you have. Thanks so much for taking the time to be here today. I hope that was helpful. I hope that inspired you. Excited for you guys to jump in. This is going to be an awesome group. And you're really going to be like excited. I've had so many people that within the first 2 or 3 weeks are just like, I can't believe how I feel. So I hope that you jump in and have that same experience. All right, guys. Have a great day. I'll be in touch. Take care.